So I found the account of an author at random, and I wanted to bring it to you guys' attention because there's a lot of suspicion of AI images being used here, and I've been looking through the posts, and honestly, in my opinion, some of the details are a bit confusing. But again, the disclaimer, don't bother anybody. So we're here to look at it and go over it and see what's actually going on, because this also follows the trouble of writing romantasy with AI in the indie book scene. And I think some of you guys might be interested because some of you guys are book artists in my audience. So it's the account that belongs to MJ Etkind, the author of The Lone Wolf Paradox, The Witch of Wall Street, and Dishwasher Safe. And they don't use AI. Or that's what their thing says. But this is the beginning of it right here, where it says I should probably leave this alone, but I spent a lot of time this weekend in crisis over a cover I love. A cover I remain sure is human-made and stylistically fits with the book. In the style requested, knowing it was dated, but in line with covers like Soul Searching by Layla Sage and Wolf E by Paisley Hope, books that came out in 2025, I work with a company, MIBL Art, that has a toss that says they don't use AI. So this is the cover in question, okay? We're gonna look at it a little bit in depth in a minute. And it says here, this company also created the Witch of Wall Street cover, which is universally adored by readers, but ultimately played a role in the book's New York Times feature. Knowing AI is always a risk, no matter how trusted the artist is, especially when using a style that AI stole and has replicated. I vetted this cover with a group of authors before the reveal and the general consensus that it wasn't AI. In addition, most of the detailed arguments this weekend supported that this was a human-made cover. This is the one she was talking about. But a few large accounts proclaimed this is most definitely AI-generated image with little support, which brought on the threads pylon. Ultimately, I believe this cover is human-generated and have made the decision to continue using it on my release. I cannot control the narrative, and I can say that this is harder to tell what is human-made versus what is AI, because AI has stolen from humans. I will always be an anti-gen author, but I will also remain careful in my call-out of suspected AI. Part of this mess we're in with AI is the fact that most of the staunchly anti-AI authors and artists will be subjugated to prove their work wasn't AI. Ethically, I have done my anti-AI diligence, and I hope this book is still a success as I head towards release day next month. So let's look at the book cover real quick. All right, so I'm going to turn off my model while we explore this a little bit. So I'm going to just tell you about the things that leap out to me. So I have used some of these brushes here that, you know what, let me zoom in. I have used some of these brushes. I have them. They're on Procreate, and they're on Clip Studio, and they're on, what's it called? Photoshop. They're the foliage brushes. Let me go see if I can find them. These are the brushes that I am 100% sure are used in the creation of this image. They're for Photoshop and Procreate. You can see down here, and as we look back over here, you can see where some of these have been used. Now we're gonna go back over here, and you can see actually the grass brushes here. See these little ones right there? I can't zoom in, but there's some here, there's some here, in here, and a little bit here. But you can see them, they're a little bit all over the place. That's definitely used in the creation of this image. So they have the sketch. Let's look at the sketch real quick. So this is the sketch here, and there's something about this that I am not buying. I don't know what it is. Something doesn't feel right, I guess. Because when we look at this right here, this is also another thing that has me kind of wondering. These two are not the same faces, right? Like by same faces, I mean, I'm not saying they look alike. I'm saying these are two different styles of faces. Like this is very, very realistic. And this is almost like I don't want to say just straight AI, but it's that look you get from AI images that are like almost anime-ish. It's almost there. Now, another thing that kind of makes me a little bit suspicious is because they already put the lighting in it too. And when the image is fully done, it still looks like this is an AI generated girl face, and this is also too. I don't know what it is about it. Something about the hair isn't right. It's just not right. And there's something about the placement of these wolves over here that seem, I don't know, weird to me. They seem like copied and pasted. Like they're not part of the background. And a lot of this also seems like it's not part of the background. Like, where is the light coming from? Like, why did what? Like, it seems like this area shouldn't even have this much light, to be honest. Like, it's also giving like different levels of quality. Like, these people are very highly defined. This back here, this, what we see here, oh my God, I know, seems very ill-defined and very ill-shaded, in my opinion. This is pretty good here, but I don't know what it is. There's something definitely wrong. That I think what it is that, okay, I'm gonna give my, what I think. What I think is that these are generated assets, and because I've been saying for a minute now, people who tend to be traditional painters and then move on to doing digital, they can only work in the traditional way. They haven't learned how digital art is done. So a lot of them do paint by number. And I'm not saying that's bad, but they color pick paint by number, color pick paint by number. And I believe that might be a little bit of what's going on here, because if she can do this, or the person can do this, why does it seem like they're positioned? You know what I mean? Like these two things are positioned like they were pasted in. You know what I mean? Like, I would have to see rest of the artist's work to believe they didn't use AI generated assets. And I'm saying, like, you can get around the AI was not used in the process, okay, by what people say, by what people mean sometimes when they say that, is that the painting wasn't done with AI. I've seen it plenty of times. I've covered it plenty of times where traditional artists will use a Midjourney reference, and then they will paint their own version of that thing, and they will paint it one for one. And I think that is probably what is happening here, where maybe they found AI generated asset, maybe they generated themselves. It wasn't used in this process where they basically pasted in and traced it. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that there is people who do that all the time. Let me go show you. Lander art is very, she does this all the time, actually. So we're going to just watch this real quick so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Okay, so you can't tell me this isn't AI. This is either Midjourney or it could be possibly ChatGPT. Either way, she did draw it literally one for one, and then she painted it, or she used color pencils to paint it, or she used colored pencils to finish it. It still has her stylistic choices, but she has no style. Do you understand me when I say that? Like, let's look at her Gary one. We never see her trace. We see her draw. We see her finish it. That looks like ChatGPT to me. And then she's gonna just do what she does over it. Look at this. This is clearly an AI generated image that she printed out, and she technically just redrew it. Because if you look at this one, you can see here, this is a strong AI image. This is a very strong AI image. There's a lot going on here that says that it is, that she just looked at it. So that's what I believe that the artist is doing. No AI was used, but what was used was an AI reference. Now, when I go and look back over to the thread, one of the artists that she had used, named Wolf E. Oh, sorry. So do you remember how in the original post, she was saying that she liked covers similar to Soul Searching by Layla Sage and Wolf E by Paisley Hope? Well, in the cover for Wolf E, the artist has confirmed that they use AI in their process. So if that was your reference, it makes sense that the book would look like AI, because the artist in question partially uses AI image in the composition. Because when people start looking into MIBL art, premium design choices, even if you look it up a little bit, people do feel that these are AI generated book covers. Someone said here, I went through them and ended up canceling after giving them a second chance. The reason why I wasn't happy with it is because it looked way too AI. I told them that, and they told me that they don't use AI, but use Photoshop manipulators. My only gripe about that is that manipulator now use AI generative fill, which makes things look AI created, which is exactly what happened with my design. They will continue to work with you to keep making changes until they get it right, but it does take about a week between getting the designs back each time, which can eat up a lot of time if you're not fully satisfied with their second attempt. It says they absolutely do use AI. The first cover that they sent me was pretty much straight out of an AI mill, ignoring basically all of my prompts, puns intended, to save the central item. And someone had a really good comment right here where it says, I loved so many of the designs in their portfolio. What they sent sucked me in. First, the people on the cover looked so distorted. It was like an alien had seen a picture of a human and tried to create it. Sure, on the surface it was human, but the heads didn't match the body. It was very weird looking at best. They also had very unworldly things like people sitting on swings, but the chains being loose as if there's no weight to them. I gave them a second chance on a revision, and half the things I mentioned as being bad were still there. There's somehow a swing set at home plate of a baseball field, an object I've never seen before, and a few other things that were clearly AI. Worst, the artist I was working at just ignored most of my comments I made and didn't seem to understand any of my requests. So even on their website, they say AI generated book covers is Midjourney the future of book design? And on top of that, did you know that they actually offer unlimited revisions? Who would offer unlimited revisions unless they were using AI? Unlimited revisions is fucking crazy. So now, one of the biggest problems with this is that our authors go to artists in hopes of being able to get the book cover that they desire, right? They want to get something that they need for their cover. They want to get something good. They go to companies who will offer it at a cheaper price point. And usually, I feel, in my opinion, because the artists are not on the front-facing part of the website, I feel that there is no way to vet the artist is using AI or not. And now, because of this, this author is kind of getting shit on a bit, and people have been downvoting her book because they believe it looks too AI. Because some people will read this as AI no matter what. I feel that it might be a little bit traced and then painted over. They say that there's absolutely no AI used in it whatsoever. But I feel like that's getting around it, and the fact that that website has already been known to give AI-like covers. There's too many specialties. People are too much bullshit that I don't believe comes from one artist, but many. And if it's too many, it's clearly AI. There's someone here who actually showed that they do have some AI evidence in their book covers. I'm going to show that here. Here's this right here. You can tell. Look at the sword. Obviously, look how warped it is. This is clearly also some AI shit. You can just tell. Just look at it. No one paints this way. No one does that. I feel like we need to go over the image one more time because I've been kind of looking and I'm seeing more than I thought I was seeing before. This is very lazily drawn. I would say this is actually bad. These are overly processed, possibly AI images. I'm sorry, and these wolves just look pasted in. You can't escape the allegations. There's a lot going on here that tells me this is AI. Not painted over AI, but half and half bullshit. They generated this, traced over this, generated these, painted over this and this, painted over this and this. I feel like this is this down here. I don't know, man. Like, the skill level is all over the place. Like, I don't understand why this black fence is going in this direction because there's a tree right here. You would think it would go like this and then bend, or just stop right here because it doesn't make sense to put this next to a tree. I feel like they probably generated an AI reference, generated assets, put the assets in, drew over top the assets to have proof that they drew something. And then if they didn't do that, they literally placed it, they did a composition like a photo bash to make this. And then they painted it like one for one. But because the style is this and these are different from the rest of these, they clearly have painted it because I know this brush set. So I know that they're using it. Now the problem is that the author tried their hardest to go through every avenue possible to make sure that no AI was used whatsoever in the process of the book, but they just, in my opinion, that company is the worst. You can't be if you can't be sure, if it's too good to be true, it probably is. They agree that using AI book covers is the future. They have an article that says so. And then all of a sudden they have AI book covers, and the people who did her and the people who have been inspired, who inspired her, use AI in their process. And I think it's a bunch of I think it's a bunch of traditional artists who are not good at doing digital art. That is how I feel. There is AI used in this somewhere. I just can't have full proof, but I feel from my really looking over, something's not right. And it's not fair, obviously, because now this person is getting accused of writing with AI, and she had to make her own statements about it. I just wanted to read this. MJ Etkind's anti-generative AI policy and AI diligence process. MJ is anti-generative AI. No part of the writing, editing, art, or marketing of any kind of any of Etkind's books utilizes generative AI. The editing for all current titles available was done by mild-mannered editors who include an anti-generative AI clause in their contract. All 3 covers were crafted by MIBL Art, whose terms and conditions explicitly state that generative AI is not used in any part of their cover design process or cover art. If you have additional questions, you can message them. Now, even though I just talked about this on another person who literally was playing around too much and probably lying, I believe this person has not used AI in their process and have done their due diligence to mitigate AI as much as they possibly could, but they've already paid for this book cover. I genuinely feel bad for MJ. I feel like I hope this doesn't hurt her book, and if you guys are watching, I would like if you could maybe, if you wanted to, if it sounds like something interesting to you, you know what, go give her book a follow, or go like her book or whatever, or buy her book if it's something that's interesting to you, because I believe that she's done everything she could, and this is just something that just sucks for her. While the output is not AI, the back end has definitely been AI generated somewhere in some way. And this actually follows the bigger picture, because literally just like right after her book was like getting talked about on NetGallery and it was getting downvoted for having an AI cover in quotations, this article came out, and we got to talk about the article. This is why I wanted to cover this. The new Fabio is Claude. The romance industry, always the vanguard of technological change, is rapidly adapting to AI, and not everyone is on board. This actually kind of pissed me off a little bit. I'm gonna just read it for you guys. But I'll leave the article in the comment section, not comment section, but in the description. Last February, Coral Heart launched an experiment. She started using artificial intelligence programs to quickly churn out romance novels. Over the next 8 months, she created 21 different pen names and published dozens of novels. In the process, she discovered the limitations of using chatbots to write about sex and love. And in my opinion about that, if you've used it enough, you see what the limitations are, and then I don't know why anyone would still be enamored with using it. Anyway, some programs refuse to write explicit content, which violates the policies. Others, like Grok and Novele, produce graphic sex scenes, but the consummation often lacked emotional nuance and felt rushed and mechanical. Claude delivered the most elegant prose, but was terrible at sexy banter. You're going to get hammering hearts and thumping chests and stupid stuff. And at the end of every sex scene, everyone will end up tangled in the sheets. Chatbots were also bad at building sexual tension, the slow burn, will they or won't they plot lines that every romance readers crave. And it says here, a longtime romance novelist who has been published by Harlequin and Mills and Boons, Miss Hart was always a fast writer. Working on her own, she released 10 to 12 novels under a year, under 5 pen names, on top of ghostwriting. But with the help of AI, she's published books at an astonishing rate. Last year, she produced more than 200 romance novels in a range of subgenres, from dark mafia romances to blah 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 blah. She's basically being a rich bitch because she used AI. So what she says is she was running and ingested her prompts and outline and produced a full novel about a rancher who falls for a city girl running from her past, and it took about 45 minutes. She has become an AI evangelist through her author coaching business, Plot Prose. And it says right here, but when it comes to her current pen names, Miss Hart doesn't disclose her use of AI because there's still strong stigma against technology. Coral Heart is one of her early, now retired pseudonyms, and it's a name she uses to teach AI-assisted writing. And it also says, romance is also the publishing industry's best-selling genre. It accounts for more than 20% of all adult fiction print sales. And it also says here that many authors don't reveal they use chatbots for fear of alienating readers. A survey of more than 1,200 authors across genres showed that a third were using generative AI for plotting, outlining, or writing, and the majority said they did not disclose AI to their readers. According to BookBub, book discovery site that released its poll last May, even some authors who publicly opposed the technology are secretly signing up for Miss Hart's class. And this bitch goes, if you hide that there's AI, it sells just fine. And she says, eventually, readers will not care. Now, as a person who cares about the content I read, I feel that it is unethical to use AI in a way that the plot and the characters are generic as fuck. The romance in them is generic as fuck. Like, you should want your book to be loved. You should want your book to be hated by people. Saying that you have 100 different million names and you just generate books like fucking crazy so you can get money. Like, the thing is at the end of the day, that bitch is about money. That bitch was not about selling something that was deeper inside. In my opinion, Miss Hart is just a bitch who wanted to get paid. And I know some people who are listening to me are like, well, I want to be a bitch that gets paid. Me too. And the thing is like, in the indie book scene, it is becoming more apparent that, like, not only are people trying to avoid AI, but they want to avoid reading AI too. And how are we going to do that? Like, it's come to the point where you hear all these AI bros say something like, well, the humanity will rise above the trash. No, that's not true. If this bitch is making 21 different accounts and putting 21 different novels out, using 1 billion different pen names, where's the human book artist and the human author who came together and worked together as one and then put out a really good product? Where are they going to be in the middle of all that shit? Miss Hart person made 21 books in a year. Let's say you throw this romance that MJ made into that batch. She has a 4% chance of being picked over an AI generated book. It's like 4.5, something like that. And it's a 95% chance you'll likely pick up an AI generated novel. And that's saying something. And the thing is, well, I mean, where do we go from here? Where do we go? Do we just let the slop continue on? Do we try to expose it for what it is? I think the only way people are going to be able to tell now is if they're using AI extensively and they can see the things that are wrong in it. Or if you're familiar with AI writing. I'm familiar enough with AI writing that I could tell if something's wrong. And oh yeah, I wanted to tell you guys also, because I'm talking about writing, over on my Patreon, I did include some of my writing. At the beginning of next month, I'm going to make that writing available for the free tier of my Patreon, so look forward to that. And please subscribe. Also, that'd be cool. But I think the thing is like, I just really hate where we're headed right now, with people lying about AI images, people lying about AI usage, people in general just lying because they know that the moment that they expose them, like, I don't know how you could sleep at night. Is it because the money lets you sleep at night? Because you have to know that, like, your whole thing is a sham at some point. You know, if you use AI extensively, the whole thing's a sham. If you're an artist using AI, sham. If you're an author and you use AI to write your whole novel with some generic ass prompt, sham. I would not take that to the bank. I could not sit at home and be proud of that. But tell me what you guys think. Do you guys think that with all the evidence I showed, and my opinion and your opinion, do you think that book cover is AI generated to some extent, has it on the back end? Not in the foreground, but in the background. Do you think AI was used in the planning process? Do you think they did what Lander Art does? But if you're interested in hearing more about an author who lied about being scammed by an artist who never existed, feel free to watch the video at the end of this video. See you next time.